Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real tonight. A lot of you out there are dealing with men who ignore you, and you're sitting there scratching your heads, wondering, why doesn't he reach out? Why doesn't he call? Why doesn't he call? Why doesn't he show me what I know he feels? I want to be honest with you. The greatest weakness of a man who ignores you is not what you think. It's not that he doesn't care. Oh no, it's quite the opposite. His greatest weakness is that he does care. He cares so much that his ego won't let him show it the way you need him to. Ladies and gentlemen, let me speak to you tonight about something that I see far too often. And it's something every woman needs to understand if she wants to navigate the dating world with wisdom and clarity. So many of you are sitting there right now, frustrated, confused, and maybe even hurt by a man who seems to ignore you. You're wondering why he doesn't call, why he doesn't reach out, why he doesn't show up the way you feel he should. And I'm here to tell you something that might just change the way you look at all of this. Ignoring someone is not strength. Not at all. See, ladies, society wants us to believe that when a man ignores us, it means he's strong, that it means he's confident, that it means he's in control. But I'm telling you tonight, that couldn't be further from the truth. Ignoring someone is usually the exact opposite of strength. Ignoring someone is a mask. It's a disguise. It's a shield that hides something much deeper. Fear, insecurity, and yes, sometimes even love that he's too afraid to admit. Think about it. A man who ignores you, he might be texting other people. He might be out living his life, or he might just be silent, but his silence is loud, isn't it? It says something. And what it's really saying is this: he's worried. He's worried that if he shows too much interest, if he expresses too much, if he opens his heart, he might lose you. And that, ladies, is not strength. That's fear disguised as indifference. Now, I want you to picture this in your mind. Imagine a man who wants to call you, who wants to tell you what he's feeling, but he stops himself because he doesn't want to seem weak. He's thinking, if I call, if I text, if I show her that I care too much, she might think I'm desperate. She might pull away. She might leave. That's fear. That's insecurity. That's the very thing that stops him from being the man he wants to be in your eyes. And you, my sisters, are left wondering why he's distant. Here's the thing. Strength is not ignoring someone you care about. Strength is showing up, being honest, being vulnerable, and taking the risk of expressing your feelings even if there's a chance of rejection. Strength is looking a woman in the eyes and saying, I like you, I want you, I care about you, without worrying that it might make you pull back. That's strength, and that's the key difference. I want you to understand that when a man ignores you, what you are really seeing is not indifference. It is a reflection of his inner battle. Inside, he's torn between desire and pride. He wants to reach out. He wants to tell you what he feels, but he's too afraid of looking weak or vulnerable. And this fear, this insecurity, it keeps him from acting. So his strength is really a mask. And his mask is hiding his greatest weakness. Now, this is where women get it wrong. So many women, when they sense this distance, they think, oh, he doesn't care. He's not interested. He's gone. And what do? They start chasing. They start texting more, calling more, trying to break through his wall of silence. But chasing a man who is masking his fear with indifference never works. It never does. You don't want to be the woman who lowers her value to fill the gaps of his insecurity. No, you want to recognize what's happening and step back with dignity. Ladies, when a man ignores you, it's an invitation. It's an opportunity to see the truth behind the mask. It's a chance to understand that he is struggling with himself more than he's struggling with you. And if you can recognize that, if you can stay calm, if you can hold your ground without chasing, then you allow his fear to surface. You allow the mask to crack. And when that mask cracks, you will see the man behind it. You will see the man who wants to be honest, the man who wants to show up, but who's too afraid to do so. And here's the beautiful part. Understanding this gives you power, real power. Because when you know that his ignoring is not strength, when you know that it's fear and insecurity at play, you stop taking it personally. You stop letting it control your emotions. You stop letting it control your emotions. You stop losing sleep over why he isn't calling. And instead, you focus on yourself, your life, your happiness, your growth. Because a man who is ignoring you out of fear cannot make you the center of his world until he overcomes that fear, until he faces his insecurity, until he decides that losing you is worse than looking vulnerable. I want every woman listening tonight to get this. A man who ignores you is not powerful. He is conflicted. He is scared. He is insecure. And his ignoring you is his way of trying to protect himself from feeling too much, from showing too much, from risking losing something precious. And you, my sisters, have to recognize that so you don't waste your energy on misunderstanding him. So you don't waste your time thinking you need to fix him or chase him. Ladies, you are not here to rescue a man from his own fear. You are here to recognize the truth, to see behind the mask, and to keep your value intact. Strength is not measured by silence or distance. Strength is measured by honesty, by courage, by the ability to face your feelings and express them openly. And when a man finally reaches the point where he could do that, he will no longer ignore you. But until that day comes, you must understand that his ignoring is not strength. It is the greatest display of his insecurity and fear of loss, wrapped up in a mask he thinks makes him look powerful. So remember this, ladies. Don't take it personally. Don't chase. Don't beg. Don't lower your standards. Recognize the mask, see the fear behind it, and let him confront his own weakness. Because the moment he does, the moment he steps past that fear, that's when you'll see the real man emerge. That's when his pride and insecurity will no longer hold him back. And that, my friends, is the truth about the so-called strength of a man who ignores you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to talk to you about a truth that so many women miss when it comes to the men in their lives. I see it all the time. Women sit there frustrated, hurt, confused, because a man they care about, a man they like, a man they have feelings for, is ignoring them. And in their minds, they think, he doesn't care about me. He's not interested. He's gone. But I'm here to tell you tonight, that's not the whole story. The real story is much deeper, much more complicated, and it starts with understanding what's going on inside his head. See, ladies, a man who ignores you is not just ignoring you because he doesn't care. Oh no, he's fighting a battle inside himself, a battle between what he wants and what he thinks he should do. He's battling desire and pride, and that internal conflict can make him act in ways that confuse you, frustrate you, and sometimes even hurt you. He wants you, but he's too proud to admit it. He desires your attention, but he's afraid of looking weak. He loves the idea of being with you, but he's scared of giving you the power to reject him or push him away. That, ladies, is the heart of the battle. I want you to picture this in your mind. A man looks at you and he feels a pull towards you that he can't shake. He thinks about you during the day. He wonders what you're doing, who you're with, what you're feeling. That's desire. But at the same time, there's pride. Pride tells him, don't call her, don't text her. Don't show that you care too much. Don't show that you care too much. Pride tells him, if you chase her, you'll lose respect. You'll lose power. You'll look desperate. And so, ladies, he does what so many men do. He ignores, he puts on a mask of indifference. He distances himself, not because he doesn't care, but because his pride won't allow him to act on his desire. This is where women get caught up. They see the ignoring, they feel the distance, and they take it personally. They think he doesn't care about me, when in reality, he's torn apart inside. He wants to care. He wants to act. He wants to show up for you, but he's trapped between two powerful forces inside himself. Desert pulls him forward. Pride holds him back. And until he resolves that conflict, he will continue to act in ways that don't make sense to you. Now, I want to be very clear, because this is important. This is not about playing games. This is not about mind tricks. This is not about understanding human nature. Men are wired differently than women. Many men feel things deeply but are conditioned to hide those feelings because showing emotion has been labeled as weakness. So when he ignores you, he's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to push you away. He's trying to protect himself from the vulnerability that comes with admitting, I want you, I like you, I need you. That admission feels risky. That admission feels like it could cost him something he's not ready to lose. Ladies, when you understand that a man is battling this internal conflict, you gain perspective. You stop taking it personally. You stop chasing. You stop doing all the things that can push him further away. Because here's the truth. A man who is ignoring you because of this battle is still thinking about you. He is still wondering about you. He is still imagining what it would be like to be with you. He is still feeling a pull towards you that he can't resist, even if he acts like he doesn't care. And the more you respect yourself and your boundaries, the more that internal battle intensifies whether he admits it or not. I want every woman listening tonight to understand this. Desire is powerful, but pride is powerful too. And when a man feels both at the same time, it creates tension that can make him act distant, detached, or even cold. But that tension also reveals something important. He is invested. He is invested in you. He is thinking about you. He is feeling things he may not know how to express. And his ignoring, as frustrating as it is actually a sign of the internal conflict that exists because you matter to him. And here's where you hold the power. When you recognize that his distance is not indifference, when you understand that he is struggling with himself, you can act with confidence, patience, and dignity. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't lower yourself to get his attention. Instead, you stay grounded. You hold your value, and you keep living your life fully. Because the more you do that, the more the conflict inside him grows. The more he feels that pull between desire and pride, the more he will eventually have to make a choice. And when he makes that choice, it will be genuine. It will be real. It will be him stepping past his pride to express what his desire has been telling him all along. Ladies, I want you to remember this. A man who ignores you is not a man who doesn't care. He is a man who is fighting an internal battle, a battle that only he can resolve. And the more you understand that, the more you will see the truth behind his actions. You will see that he is invested, that he is thinking about you, and that he is feeling the pull of desire, even when pride tells him to stay away. And when he finally overcomes that pride, when he finally steps forward, you will know it's real. You will know it's genuine. You will know it came from the heart and not from obligation or pressure. So remember this, ladies. The next time a man ignores you, don't take it personally. Don't chase. Don't panic. Understand that he is fighting a battle inside himself, a battle between desire and pride. And when you recognize that, when you act with your own strength and dignity, you set the stage for him to confront his own weakness and show up in a way that truly matters. That is the secret of understanding the man who ignores you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what gives you power in the relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most women completely miss when it comes to men and their behavior. You see a man being silent. You see him ignoring your texts, not calling as often as you want, acting distant, and your mind immediately jumps to conclusions. You start thinking, he doesn't care. He's lost interest. I'm not important to him. But I'm here to tell you tonight, nothing could be further from the truth. His silence, ladies, is often the loudest signal that he actually values you more than he shows. Yes, I said it. His silence is not indifference. His silence is a reflection of the struggle between what he wants and what his ego tells him he should do. Men are wired differently than women. Most men are taught from the time they're boys that showing too much emotion, showing too much care, showing too much desire is weakness. They are told to be strong, to be in control, to never appear needy. And that means that when a man feels deeply for a woman, when he values her more than he realizes, his first instinct might not be to chase her, but to withdraw. His attention becomes controlled by his pride, by his ego, and by the fear of looking vulnerable. Think about it like this. A man looks at you and he feels something powerful inside. He sees your smile, he hears your laugh, he notices the way you carry yourself, and he feels a pull towards you he can't ignore. That feeling grows inside him every day. That's value, that's desire, that's recognition of something special. But his ego steps in and whispers, don't make it obvious. Don't reach out too much. Don't reach out too much. Don't let her see how much she matters to you. So instead of showing it, he holds back. He withholds attention. He becomes quiet. And that, ladies, is a sign of how much he truly values you. Now, I want to make this clear because it's an important distinction. Men who don't value a woman don't think about her. They don't plan for her. They don't imagine her in their future. They don't even notice the little things about her. But a man who values you will notice. He will see. And even when he doesn't reach out, even when he doesn't express it openly, he's thinking about you. He's thinking about you. He's comparing you to nobody else, and he's trying to figure out how to show up without compromising his pride. That's why so many women get frustrated. They misread the silence. They interpret it as disinterest, when in reality, it's the opposite. Ladies, you have to understand that ego can control a man's attention more than desire sometimes. His mind is saying, I want her, I care about her, I like her. But his ego is saying, don't show it too soon. Don't appear weak. Don't chase. And so what happens? He withdraws. He becomes distant. He goes silent. But make no mistake, his heart is still in motion. His mind is still occupied with you. His thoughts are still wrapped around you, even when he acts like nothing is happening. That's why his silence is actually proof of his internal value assessment. The more he values you, the more careful he becomes about how he shows it. I want you to picture this for a moment. A man who doesn't care about you, he will be careless. He will act without thought. He will treat you as replaceable. But a man who values you deeply, who respects what you bring into his life, who understands the weight of your presence, will hesitate. He will pause. He will hold back. His silence, his distance, his seeming indifference is not because you're not important. It's because you are so important that he's trying to measure every word, every gesture, every move. That's value, ladies. That's respect disguised as quiet. And this is where women often make a mistake. They see the silence, they feel the absence of attention, and they panic. They start chasing. They start calling more. They start overcompensating for something that doesn't need to be fixed. And what happens? The man who values you begins to feel that pressure, that desperation. And instead of opening up, he might pull back even further because his ego doesn't just control his attention. It reacts to the way you show up as well. That's why understanding this dynamic is so critical. Ladies, when a man is quiet, when he doesn't reach out as often as you want, it's an invitation for you to stand in your own value. It's a chance for you to demonstrate that you are strong, confident, and patient. It's an opportunity to let him wrestle with his own pride and his own desire without forcing the situation. When you respect yourself, when you honor your own boundaries, the man who values you will be forced to confront his ego. He will have to decide, do I step past my pride and show her what she means to me? Or do I continue hiding behind silence? And when he chooses to step forward, his attention will be genuine, heartfelt, and lasting. I want you to see it this way. The greatest weakness of a man who ignores you is often the same thing as his greatest strength, his capacity to value you. His ego may make him seem distant, his capacity to value you. His ego may make him seem distant. His pride may make him seem unapproachable. But behind that mask is a man who is thinking about you constantly, who is assessing what you mean to him, and who is wrestling with the best way to express it without losing face. That is powerful. And when you recognize it, when you understand it, you gain control not by chasing, but by holding your own dignity and letting him confront himself. So remember, ladies, endless is not always absence. Distance is not always disinterest. And ignoring is not always neglect. Often it's a man's way of protecting himself while he processes his feelings, a way of wrestling with desire and pride, a way of measuring his value for you and your value to him. And when you can see through the mask of ego to the heart behind it, you step into a place of strength, wisdom, and confidence. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop chasing, and you allow the man who truly values you to show up in the only way that counts, with honesty, commitment, and real attention. Ladies, I want you to take that truth with you tonight. Don't misread silence. Don't misinterpret distance. And don't confuse pride for lack of care. His silence is a mirror of his struggle. His hesitation is a measure of your value. And his controlled attention is proof that he sees something in you worth holding on to. That, my sisters, is the real story behind the man who ignores you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I want to share with you something that will completely change the way you look at men who seem distant, men who ignore you, men who don't show their feelings the way you expect them to. There's a secret that so many women overlook, and it's this: understanding a man's weakness gives you power, real power, the kind of power that allows you to navigate a relationship with confidence, wisdom, and dignity. When you understand what drives him, when you see behind the mask of pride and ego, you no longer react out of frustration or fear. You act from a place of knowledge and strength. See, most women get caught up in what they see on the surface. They see a man not calling as often as they want, not showing the attention they feel they deserve, and they panic. They think, he doesn't care. He's not interested. I've lost him. But the truth is far more nuanced than that. The man who ignores you, the man who seems distant, is often battling his own weaknesses, his pride, his ego, his fear of vulnerability, and his struggle with showing desire without losing control. And when you understand that, everything changes. Because once you see his weakness for what it really is, you gain clarity. You stop being reactive and you start being strategic in a way that empowers both you and the relationship. Let me break it down for you. A man's weakness is not a flaw. It's often a reflection of how much he values you and how much he wants to protect himself at the same time. For many men, showing emotions, admitting desire, and being vulnerable are uncomfortable because society has taught them that strength equals control. And so when he ignores you, when he distances himself, when he agways attention, it's often his way of protecting himself from feeling exposed or risking rejection. His greatest weakness, in other words, is that he cares more than he wants to admit. And when you recognize this, you gain insight into his mind, his heart, and his behavior. Understanding that weakness gives you power because it allows you to stop taking things personal. You see, ladies, when you interpret his distance as indifference, you react emotionally. You chase, you plead, you try to fix something that doesn't need fixing. And in doing so, you give away your power. But when you understand that his distance is tied to his pride and fear, you can step back and act with intentionality. You can keep your standards high. You can hold your dignity intact, and you can create an environment where he has to confront his own feelings instead of being pushed by yours. That's how power works in a relationship. Not by chasing, but by knowing. Here's the reality. Men respect women who recognize the dynamics at play and respond wisely. They respect women who don't overreact, who don't beg for attention, who don't compromise their value for temporary validation. When you understand a man's weakness and you navigate it correctly, you force him to face himself. You force him to acknowledge his own feelings. And you give him the chance to show up in a way that is genuine, meaningful, and lasting. That is the kind of power that changes the game completely. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who is distant because he's afraid of looking weak. If you react by chasing him, calling him constantly, texting him too much. What happens? He feels pressure. His ego kicks in. And instead of closing the gap, he may retreat even further. But if you understand his weakness and you respond with calm confidence, keeping your life full, staying engaged with your own goals, your own friends, your own happiness, you create a magnetic effect. Suddenly, his desire, which has been battling his pride, starts to take over. His weakness becomes his drive to step forward and show you what he feels. That's the power of understanding. Ladies, understanding a man's weakness also protects your heart. Too many women get hurt because they misread signals, they chase illusions, and they invest in behavior that is rooted in ego and fear rather than genuine intent. But when you understand that the ignoring, the silence, the distance is about his internal struggle, not your value, you maintain your emotional balance. You don't react out of insecurity. You respond out of knowledge. You don't allow temporary frustration to dictate your actions. You allow insight to guide your decisions. And that, my sisters, is how you protect yourself while still holding the space for real connection. And here's the deeper truth. Every man has a weakness. Every man has something that keeps him from fully expressing his desire, his affection, or his love. But not every woman recognizes it. Not every woman understands it. And those who do gain an advantage, not in a manipulative way, but in a wise, grounded way. They know when to hold back. They know when to hold back. They know when to wait. They know when to give space and when to allow a man's heart to catch up with his mind. That is strategic, intelligent, and incredibly powerful. Ladies, the moment you understand a man's weakness, you shift the dynamic of the relationship. You are no longer reacting to his ego. You are interacting with his heart. You are no longer lost in confusion. You are walking with clarity. You are no longer desperate for attention. You are confident in the layer that if he truly values you, his actions will align with his feelings. And when that alignment happens, the connection is real, genuine, and sustainable. So tonight, remember this: a man who ignores you, a man who distances himself, a man who acts indifferent is not always showing you the truth on the surface. His greatest weakness is often his care for you, his struggle with vulnerability, and his pride standing in the way of his desire. When you understand that weakness, when you see it clearly, you gain wisdom, you gain control, you gain power. And that power allows you to navigate the relationship with confidence, to hold your value, and to create a space where love and desire can finally meet without ego interfering. That, ladies, is how you turn a man's greatest weakness into your ultimate strength in the relationship.